Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay on Isle of the Crimson Skull. I'm playing the Empire today and I'm up against Animal Mother who is playing the Wood Elves. So as we load into the battle, I sort of had a bit of a theme in mind for my list here that we'll get to in a second, but we'll take a look at my opponent's force first. Up front, 3 units of Dryads, good for clearing through state troops, good pressure tools, obviously because they're quite quick as well. Bit of armor, good damage output. 3 units of Eternal Guard shields in a sort of defensive sort of alignment here, protecting 3 units of Deepwood Scouts. These are just the regular Deepwood Scouts, so great range, great missile damage, and not the Swift Shiver Shard variant. On this side of the battlefield, we have a unit of Glade Riders with spears and a Hagbane tip Glade Rider, 2 units of Glade Riders with spears here, and then a unit of Great Stag Knights down here. So some really nice charge bonus and obviously some very hard hitting power. Leading the force is a Spellsinger of Life who has taken, as I get the tooltip there to try and hold, he has taken Regrowth, Shield of Thorns, and Earthblood. So looking like we're gonna get maybe some physical resistance shenanigans. Also Regrowth, great. Regrowth obviously very good with Orion, even though he has fantastic healing with his own Cloak of Isha when he gets low. Still very tough to kill at times. So Hounds of Orion, Hawk's Talon. He's also taken, as I said, the Cloak of Isha. Hasn't taken Horde of the Wild Hunt, which is actually surprising given there's a lot of sort of Glade Riders in the force and that kind of stuff that has good charge bonus and can make use of it. Even Dryads, they're gonna press home the front line. So we'll see if that makes a noticeable difference. So for my force here, the Men of the Empire, it's a very, very boring force, if you want to use that word. I'm just putting my faith in the good, honest state troops and some Empire Knights. Nothing, no monsters, no big machines, just good old-fashioned Men of the Empire. So my front line consists of, I've taken 4 units of Halberds. I've sort of boxed them around the formation here. Kind of figured they've got nice defensive stats, obviously 42 melee defense, but some armor piercing as well. I was kind of curious to see how they'd go against Dryads. Wasn't sort of holding out hope that they'd beat Dryads, but thought they may be able to get some licks back with their own armor piercing. 2 units of Spearmen with shields in the front, 1 in the back, so forming a little bit of a box around 4 units of Huntsmen, which are here, and 1 unit obviously being the White Wolves. I've also got the Sigmar Sons up the front, so a nice sort of unbreakable anchor piece for the front line. Decent combat stats, shield block chance, unbreakable, they'll fight to the last. I have also taken 3 units of Empire Knights, 1 out the back here, 1 on each flank. Basically not going to get too aggressive with them. They're just going to protect the rears, and I'm going to sort of march up as a big block. They trade. They lose to. I think they lose to Wild Riders. They'll lose to Stag Knights, but they'll do well against Glade Riders, and they'll probably hold for a decent amount of time against Wild Riders, just with the lack of armor piercing that they have. I have taken Gotrek because I figured I would most likely see either Orion or Ariel or possibly both. So his job is going to be to hunt Orion. He's taken Runax of Gotrek as well as Gotrek's Doom. I've taken his other abilities off. He's just got the obviously the passive healing proc that he gets there when he gets low. And leading the force, the mighty Balthazar Gelt on foot. So he has taken the Staff of Volans, obviously Arcane Conduit, as well as Final Transmutation, Hounds of Orion, and Syrian Doom. Now, not necessarily the best lore against Wood Elves. Hounds can actually do some decent work. Syrian Doom can be okay for hitting down blobs, and Final Transmutation was hopefully going to be there basically just to nuke down Ariel and Orion, because I figured that was a chance we'd see the Queen and King of the Woods combo, but it's just the King today. So we'll get the battle started. And I'm going to basically just slow march up the field. I see obviously these Glade Riders coming around this side. These guys are actually hidden from me at the moment, but I figure there will be something coming around this flank, even if not just the Great Stag Knights. So we get the opening volley down, and this is probably a little bit of a mistake. Didn't want to actually reveal them until he had a good target. I mean, I'm fine with using ammunition on Spearmen with shields. Obviously, with a bronze block chance, they are going to take a little bit of damage. Just the sheer damage output of the Deepwood Scouts is decent, but as I said, it's not really where you want to be spending your ammunition. Mind you, I don't really have a high value target here in this force. So the Glade Riders are going to come down this force. I am going to turn to face with one unit of Huntsmen, and I'm going to shoot some return volleys back in. Huntsmen, obviously, with their loose formation, aren't going to be great value for the Deepwood Scouts either. I'm moving up to screen this unit of Dryads, which has torn through some of my spearmen here, and my opponent does get a charge here, which I do see, and obviously not a lot of damage taken just due to the armor, but I was moving around trying to look for maybe a rear charge on these guys, and I will be needing to pull back my Huntsmen. Over on this flank, the Glade Riders have made themselves known, and I am turning to face with these Huntsmen as well, and I will be pulling up some infantry. Balthazar is moving up and actually got, I think he's about to get a final transmutation off, but a withering hail of fire coming down on the White Wolves. They're having to pull back, and again, just moving up my infantry just to buffer the front line. I know there's not too much in the back lines here that's going to hurt my archers. Both units of Glade Riders and the Stag Knights have all been focused on one Empire, and this is one unit of Empire Knights, and this has given me a nice blob to fire in with the anti-large on these Huntsmen. Really only needed one unit here to tie these guys up. The other two should be getting around and trying to micro into my backline, as we see a very nice overcast final transmutation from Balthazar coming down here. Now he has taken a little bit of bow fire, but nothing he can't deal with, and we have been able to push off the Glade Riders here. The Halberdiers are coming up. I just want to try and basically get some pressure on these Deepwood Scouts, push them back. I have broken through as well with Sigmar's Sons, so they're going to start working up the central part of the battlefield to lap around. And Balthazar now taking a little bit of fire, but this was one of the reasons I put him on his on foot. Harder to snipe, smaller hitbox, just in general been a bit of a nuisance. I felt like I had the numbers and the formation to sort of protect him, but getting a little bit careless here. He has popped Arcane Conduit as well as the Staff of Volans to get his Wings of Magic back up, and we are going to see the Stag Knights now coming to relieve Orion, who has been absolutely poleaxed by Gotrek. He does receive an upgraded regrowth, but Gotrek has both his buffs popped, the Rune Axe of Gotrek and Gotrek's Doom, so he has put an absolute truckload of work into Orion, who is now getting the benefit of his Cloak of Isha healing. But the rest of the Wood Elf forces have been mopped up reasonably nicely, and the anti-large on the Huntsman now is really going to do a number on these Glade Riders, which are trying, I think, desperately to push through, but charge defense on the Halberds, charge defense on the Spearmen, they're just not going to be able to get through, and my Huntsmen now are in reasonably good shape for the late game. Halberdiers here, holding really well against Eternal Guard. I actually was surprised. I thought that'd probably be a 0-0 draw, and it would probably be the leadership of the Eternal Guard, which would hold them in good stead. But they've really done a power of work, and we see the Empire Knights on this flank now have made their way into the back line, and the Deepwood Scouts are being pressured. Even though my Empire Knights are pretty tattered, it's just giving me time to basically force my opponent to scramble. I'm getting my infantry running up now. My Huntsmen have been able to break off these Glade Riders, and even though this unit of Dryads here could potentially pressure my Huntsmen, I've got basically a full health unit of Spearmen, a pretty healthy unit of Halberdiers about to break these Eternal Guards, and Gotrek is still just hunting Orion. I think his buffs are about to come off cooldown as well, and really now there's no buffering left for Orion. He's really got nowhere to hide. There are some Deepwood Scouts still firing, but that's going to be army losses with the Wood Elf force in tatters and just a slow push here of the infantry line. Gotrek is going to get some spam orders on Orion just to hunt him down. The mass of the Empire Knights are just going to pin him in place, and we can probably put it on a fast play as we see the Huntsman shooting in. I wanted to finish off Orion with the Huntsman clearly, but Gotrek is going to get his man what he was taken to do today, to kill Orion, and the brave men of the Empire have won the day. So like I said, a pretty pretty non-fancy list. I mean, outside of Gotrek, it's basically just state troops, huntsmen, and Empire Knights. But it's carried the day. It's nice and wide. It gave me good, I guess, control. Huntsmen obviously can shoot down things like, even with the shield block chance, Glade Riders quite well, Stag Knights, probably even Wild Riders if you had them there. Just the damage bonus they get from anti-large was handy. The Empire Knights did some decent work, but basically the idea behind them was just to be sturdy. You know, provide the force with a bit of mobility, a bit of a protection unit for my own backline, a troubleshooting unit, and just be hard to deal with. And I think they did that reasonably well. You know, they've all finished the game still on the map. They haven't been able to be, you know, forced down too well by the Empire player. And I guess with 3 units of Deepwood Scouts here, nothing really to snipe. No real high value target, you know, other than the characters, which are both on foot with small hitboxes and a massive infantry just to hide amongst. You know, there was nothing like the demigriffs, nothing too expensive, no cannon crew or anything like that for them to really snipe down. And as you can see here, you know, 700 value, 600 value. This one's got a bit of value. I think this one put a bit of damage into Balthasar, but just not a ton of high value troops to work down. The front lines held well. Sigmar's Son have pushed through and just disrupted the Deepwood Scouts, and I was really surprised actually by how the Halberdiers just held. I expected them probably over time to be worn down by Eternal Guards just because of the Eternal Guards leadership, but even the Dryads that tried to engage my Halberdiers, I think just the 42 melee defense and the ability for them to hit back a little bit with their AP of their own. Obviously, they did lose charge bracing against all in a recent patch, but still a surprisingly good performance. You know, not netting me a ton of value, but they've protected my sort of damage dealers in the Huntsman. And look at that, yeah, 1,300. This one's been a bit shot up. Over 1,000. These guys have all punched above their value. And Balthazar on foot is pretty cheap. You know, he's netted me some good value with a good final transmutation. And Orion has really suffered at the hands of Gotrek, who's got back 3k value, which is all you can really ask from Gotrek, and he's finished as per usual the game pretty healthy. So he's hard to kill on his own right. For my opponent, probably just a little bit. I mean, he had the tools to deal with me, my backline. You saw that I highlighted on the left flank there. 2 units of Glade Riders and the Stag Knights all collapsing onto a unit of Empire Knights, which just held them up, allowed them to take some shots from some Huntsmen, and allowed me to reposition a unit of Spearmen and Halberdiers to keep those Huntsmen safe. So I probably just needed to split up a little bit more. You know, Empire Knights are going to be tough for Glade Riders to deal with one-on-one. But I feel like he had some other options just to maybe tax my micro a little bit better and get around into the sort of softer underbelly of the Empire force. But as we said, the men of the Empire have carried the day. The Golden Order is victorious. So thanks to Animal Mother for the game. And thanks to you guys for checking it out. And until next time, take care.